When it comes to Barbour, the common question is, should I get the Bedale or the Beaufort? And what's going on with the sizing of the Bedale? I've had this classic Beaufort now for about 2 years, and as far as construction and details, it's made of the silk oil waxed cotton in olive color. The brass zippers are high quality, and it has this large ring pull tab. The corduroy collar is large and soft, and inside it has the classic tartan lining. And on the label it says made in England. The collar has snaps on the back to attach the optional hood, and that's sold separately. I think it's about $40 or $50. And there's a throat latch also to fasten up the collar. The hood is pretty large and it matches the coat exactly, and it has a wire frame in the front so you can shape the hood. As far as other details, the inner sleeve cuff is made of nylon and fastens with a Velcro, which is different from the Bedale, which I'll get to later. There's a concealed wallet pocket in front by the zipper, and I actually forgot it had this feature until just recently that I rediscovered it. There's hand warmers on the sides and lined with a soft moleskin material, and two large bellowed pockets, which are lined with the tartan lining inside. And on the back you have the large game pouch, which is zippered and goes all the way through and is waterproof. It's a cool looking feature, but I never found it super useful and never found anything that I needed to put back there. The lining is not very thick, and the jacket is overall a mid-weight. So it's not extremely warm, but with some layering you can make it warmer. I would usually wear this with a shirt and the jacket by itself down to the 50s or upper 50s. And below that I could add a fleece vest or a sweater and wear this down into the 40s. As far as sizing for the Beaufort, I'm 5'7" and 140 pounds. I wear a size small shirt and a 38 suit. That has a 20-inch chest, 17-inch shoulders, and 29-inch jacket length. The Beaufort has a roomy fit, so I chose to size down one size for my suit size, and I got this Beaufort in the C36 size. These dimensions are 21 inches across in the chest and 31.5 inches in total length from the bottom of the back collar. The sleeves are raglan, so you can't measure them from the shoulder, but from the armpit, the length is about 19.5 inches. Right now, I just have on a white Oxford button-down shirt and khakis. It's not too baggy right now. I can still wear this with a suit underneath or a light sweater. With a heavy, thick sweater, it starts to get a little bit snug. The styling on the Beaufort is very casual. It has a slightly slouchy look and a country look, but it also has plenty of coverage for the rain. I started looking again at more pictures of the Bedale, and I noticed how much shorter that jacket looked in comparison to the Beaufort, so I decided to try it out. I looked at End Clothing online, but they were out of stock, and I didn't want to wait for a sale, so I bought this at retail on Orvis.com. Shipping was free, and it took about 3 or 4 days to arrive. These are expensive coats, but they are made to last for several decades, and they can be repairable and re-waxed. I think about 5 years ago they were still going for around $379 retail, so it hasn't gone up too much in price over the last few years. This one is still new, and right away I noticed that this had a thicker coat of wax. It didn't smell bad or anything, but just touching it makes your fingers feel greasy. They're both labeled as the same color, but my Beaufort is a shade lighter. So my Beaufort must have worn off some wax and faded slightly, but I just didn't notice it until I compared it with the new Bedale. You can find the size tag on the inside chest pocket on the Bedale, and on the Beaufort the size label is on the bellows pocket on the outside on the right side. The collar label on the Bedale says made in England. but the inside label says made in the UK. So the construction details are very similar. It has a similar bellows pocket, which is lined in the tartan lining, and very similar hand warming pockets on the sides. But on the back, it doesn't have the game pocket, but it does have these snaps that hold the flaps together. I think on some older models, the flaps could go all the way up, but on this one, it's gusseted, so you can't extend the flap all the way up. And on the Bedale, the tartan lining does not extend all the way down to the end of the jacket like it does on the Beaufort. Now, this is because the Bedale is a riding jacket, and that flap is meant to rest on the back of the horse, which may be wet. And here are the sweater cuffs, which are different from the Beaufort. These make your wrists feel a little bit warmer, but they can be prone to getting wet. Here's the Bedale with the same outfit on underneath, except now I have the Barbour boots on, and in a different location. It's in the same olive color, but you can see it looks slightly darker than my Beaufort. This looks obviously much shorter than the Beaufort. Of course, it has different dimensions, but the dimensions are different in a way that I didn't expect. The chest is 22 inches across instead of 21, so a slightly boxier look and slightly more roomy on the inside, but still not too baggy. The sleeves are the same length as the Beaufort. Some people complain that they have problems with the sleeve sizing on the Bedale and that the sleeves are too short on them. I had no problem with this. The sleeves came out perfectly on my arms, but that's because I'm not overly tall. I like how the zipper is a two-way zipper, so I like styling this with the zipper down a little bit from the top and up a little bit from the bottom. So when I measured the length of the Bedale from the bottom of the back collar, I measured 30 inches, which is only 1.5 inches shorter than the Beaufort. But by appearance, the Beaufort looks much longer than the Bedale than that 1.5 inches would suggest. So the difference comes down to an optical illusion, partly by the design differences between these two jackets. On the Bedale, the front pockets are actually a 1/2 inch taller than the Beaufort, and this also makes the hand warmer side pockets stand up a little bit higher. So on the Beaufort, the front pockets seem to lie a little lower, and the hand warmers are also down a little bit. That, along with the narrower chest, gives a more elongated look to the Beaufort. There's more empty visual space between the shoulders and the pockets. So even though the Beaufort looks a lot longer, it's only 1.5 inches longer. So the Bedale, I think, looks more proportional on me since I'm only 5'7". I was worried that it wouldn't provide enough coverage against the rain, but I don't think that will be a problem. And I like it that it has more room in the chest, so I have more room to layer. I did try this on over a suit, and that fit fine. The length went just about 1 inch past the length of the suit jacket. These jackets are expensive, and they're not warm enough for me to wear in the dead winter, but I think it's worth the price. This one is very durable, and all the details are high quality. I'm looking forward to breaking in the Bedale and wearing it often this fall. Let me know in the comments, do you prefer the Bedale or the Beaufort?